Hey, what is going on, crypto people? Happy Generational Wealth Wednesday evening to each and every one of you. What's going on right now? XRP Depository Receipts. There's a company from Citi. It's important to understand it. It's a group from Citi started a corporation called the Receipts Depository Corporation as a means to securities and access to security structured products that can be settled through the depository trust, the DTCC. What is that? Depository Trust Corporation Company, Clearing Corporation. Yeah, I happened to stumble upon this and I thought to myself, why would they want this? Who is this RDC? And I looked into this Receipts Depository Corporation. Again, from the group from Citi. That's important to understand because from Citi, there's a Citi overhead and there's the Citi group and there's a holding. The Citi thing is a big deal. And it feels as though these people are set out or sought out to do this for a reason, on purpose, intentional. Um, yeah, it's very interesting to see this playing out. Of course, I went to Grok. Mhm. Of course, I went to Grok to find this out, find out some more about it. And there's some interesting stuff because in the end, what I want to know, because this is all institutionals. This is all, exemptions to securities, and this is all this other kind of stuff, all this paper stuff. It should come up. So I'm like, what is this about? Not yet. For me, in the end, what I'm looking at. In the end, I'm looking at demand for the native asset. See or no? See or no? Yes or not? What's going on right now? That's what I want to know. We're going to get into. I'm going to let you. We're going to go over Grok's response to my thoughts. We're going to do that again. And this is interesting to me, family. This is very, very interesting. Your YouTube is screwing up a little bit, and notifications are not going out about the live streams. That's partly my fault, I think, because I was doing a lot more videos here as of late, as opposed to live streams, and YouTube is just funny that way. It's just kind of funny that way, Let me check something over here and make sure this is yep, there we are. We're up and live. We're up and live and running. So that is interesting to me, to say the least. Did you go to the channel? You went to my channel? It's not showing it because I see it. That's odd because I see it. I'm right here on not yet. Sometimes it takes a little bit for it to get on. Huh? What's that? What's on the bottom there? I don't remember putting my merch on my channel. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, is it? Is it the merch that I just had done? What? Yeah, but my thing is I didn't set that store up. Oh, you mean the link? You clicked on the link and it came up. That is awesome. Yeah. Okay. So it doesn't show that I'm live, which is odd. Very, very odd. Yeah, that's definitely YouTube for sure. Because I'm on my channel. I just see the link in the description for my store. I don't see anything that says store. I mean, maybe no, okay, I'm not on my channel. I'm on the video for the channel. Got it. Maybe that's it. Yeah, I don't know why it's not showing I'm live, which is weird. Maybe that's just YouTube. Hopefully, that'll show up. Hopefully that'll show up. Started streaming 5 minutes ago. One's watching. Yeah, that has me a little nervous. It has me wondering now. So hopefully we're live. Hopefully we'll have people still checking on. Uh oh, wait a minute. It's not. It's showing the stream is unlisted. Why would it do that? All right. Details. Where do I make this? Yeah, it came up unlisted instead of public. Where do I need to well, let me see. Let me see where I can change that. Right here. I don't know why that went to unlisted. Yeah, you're gonna have to show me that store thing. All right, so I think now we're live. I had it on the public for some reason. So yeah, I don't know what happened there. I had the thing on the public. I had it on the unlisted. I had the stream under unlisted. So welcome to the live stream. I don't know why it was doing that. Let's go here. Yeah. So in any case, I was rambling on this whole time. And yeah, it wasn't live. So now we're live. We're going to discuss something that I discovered earlier today about the Receipts Depository Corporation. The DTCC just did a live demo of collateral and how they're on the Ethereum blockchain and blah, 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 blah. Had someone mention Solana and Ethereum and XRP, whatever. So there was a post on X about XRP depository receipts. And this corporation called the Receipts Depository Corporation is the one who's setting up these XRP depository receipts. I come to find out a couple of things, very interesting things. Number one, the team behind this corporation, Receipts Deposit Corporation, is a group from Citi. CITI, right? You know, there's the Citi group and there's the Citi something or whatever. All that part of Citi, right? Major bank. So these people from Citi started this Receipts Depository Corporation, and it ties into the DTCC for settlement. So I'm kind of doing my homework and researching this. I go to Google. Who is this Receipts Depository Corporation? What are they doing? Is it legitimate? What's going on? Is it just some person trying to do something? So the answer is no. It is a, I don't want to call it a subsidiary of the DTCC. It's not, but it's an access to the DTCC. It is kind of a company that's going to provide access for institutions and hedge funds and other players to give them receipt, right, to XRP, which essentially is a security investment or security investment product that gives them exposure to XRP without having to hold the asset, without getting a wallet, without all that other kind of stuff that institutions like hedge funds, Franklin Templeton, Pantera Capital, all these other kind of companies may want access to for whatever reason. So I started looking into it some more. Then I went over to Grok to find out what is this Receipts Depository Corporation about? Why is it around? What is, who's doing it? Why doing it? And all this other kind of stuff like that. And so we're going to go over our discussion a little back and forth with Grok. Anchorage Digital Holdings or Anchorage Digital Bank seems like it's involved in this as well as far as custody. We're going to get into that. But whenever I saw the post that tied this RDC that one of their offerings is XRP Depository Receipts, and it's tied to the DTCC, the Depository Trust Clearing Corporation. I think that's what they call themselves over there, the DTCC. I had to look into this because this is massive in a lot of ways. And we're just exploring how significant this can be. Number one, any kind of instrument, investment instrument, structured product that's tying to the DTCC is a big deal, right? We're talking about the Depository Trust Clearing Corporation. That, my friends, is a big deal, right? It is a big deal, because that's big exposure, that's big money, right? That's talking about the clearing corporation, I'm talking about the DTCC. So if you got a product and it's called a depository receipt, it's, again, if you have this product and or offering that ties to the DTCC, the DTCC is not just it's just not interested in any kind of product getting into their space, their sphere. You understand? So we're talking about, this product is an institutional product that institutions want. And the DTC can be involved in the settlement of this product. So we're going to get into that. I found that to be very, very interesting, crypto. Yeah, I found that interesting. Now they announced some stuff in February. They had a little announcement in April. But so this depository receipt it's big. It's big. What's going on, Auntie Val? How are you, miss? It's a big deal. And it's 4 products that this Receipts Depository Corporation is offering. Again, tying into the DTCC. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and XRP. This says to me, this is what these are the big boys. They want access to a product that can give them exposure to those 4 assets. Let me say that again. They want access to a product that can give them exposure to those 4 assets. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and XRP. We're going to get into my conversation back and forth with Grok about it, because, for me, what's the thing that I'm ultimately interested in? Will this create demand for the native asset? Because I'm not trying to hold on to a depository receipt of any asset. I want to hold the asset. But if these products, these structured products, create demand for the native asset, cool. Cool. And my answer to that question, or the answer for that question from Grok, is fascinating. You guys heard about this? Did you guys hear about this little post about this Receipts Depository Corporation? Apparently there was a big to-do about the DTCC doing a collateral testing of some collateral management thing. I try to tell you in this book, The Great Taking, all of these paper products are considered collateral. Just trying to tell you, all of these paper products are considered collateral. The DTCC just did a live demo today about collateral management on chain. Just trying to tell you. I think what's going on, Rick Cisneros? I think didn't Hidden Roads just get the license to be both a broker and a dealer? I think Hidden Rose just got that because I thought it was odd. Like, why was Hidden Road announcing that they just got I think they just got a dealer's license. I'm like, what do you mean? I thought you were already a dealer. So I think they just got that, Rick Cisneros, to be both a broker and a dealer. So it's like, I'm going to say, Rick, within 4 or 5 days of the announcement of Hidden Road, the prime broker being purchased by Ripple, Hidden Road announced that they got this deal. Maybe we'll find it together on X. What's going on, JR? How are you, bro? So listen, this depository receipts thing is significant. It's a significant product that major institutions are going to be interested in. We're going to cover my conversation with Grok about this as well. I'm glad I stumbled upon this on X. It just happened to stumble upon it. I stumbled upon the DTCC live demo. And Rick says, just to make sure, ask Grok. Yeah, I'm going to ask Grok about Hidden Road in particular. Are they a primary broker and dealer or just a broker? I think Grok would probably know. So, yeah, I mean, I stumbled upon this DTC live demo of collateral management. And I just think it's interesting that the DTCC, look, if they're doing something, that's just not a small. If they're doing something on a blockchain, now originally it's Ethereum, it's going to move to Solana, or it's going to be interoperable with Solana and Stellar and XR and the XRPL. That's you want to talk about the plumbing. That's a big move. The demo is like 2 hours. I don't want to go through that demo presentation. It was like 2 hours. But Rick, have you heard about this corporation called the Receipts Depository Corporation? Have you heard about it? All right, let me get into it. Let me find this X post, and then I will start from there. Then we'll go over to the RDC. What is it? Website. Let's see here. So this is the post this is Angelica Saldana. I don't know who she is. What it says, Web3 speaker, Eurofinance, money in the metaverse. All right. So she put this out. The DTCC's The Great Experiment provided an example of stablecoins on chain. DTCC mentioned Ripple, Stellar, Solana, Ethereum. Somebody's saying they didn't really mention them, or was some other person with the stablecoin who mentioned them. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So from the DLT to DTCC, XRP's depository receipts merge crypto with legacy finance. XRP depository receipts, which is called XRP DRs, are designed to be DTCC eligible securities. In other words, falling into the framework of the DTCC. This means XRP deposit receipts are integrated within the DTCC system. The XRP DRs represent direct ownership of XRP. It represents ownership of the asset XRP. It's for me, it's a securities product of some sort, structured product for investment, for institutional people. Angelica goes on to say, XRP DRs represent bringing digital assets into the traditional financial ecosystem, okay? So I started looking into the RDC, but let's read this little post from them. This was in February. And we're going to look into the team behind it and the whole 9 yards. Okay. Receipts Depository Corporation, RDC, today announced the launch of the XRP Depository Receipt. XRP DRs are securities issued by RDC that represent direct ownership of the underlying XRP, which are held securely at Anchorage Digital National Association, a federally chartered digital asset bank regulated by the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency. So, okay. XRP depository receipts are RDC's latest expansion, which is RDC is the corporation called the Receipts Depository Corporation. It's their latest expansion to provide depository trust and clearing corporation eligible securities that offer ownership of digital and alternative assets. The RDC's leadership team brings extensive experience in depository receipts and institutional market structure, having spent decades working with issuers and investors to evolve direct depository receipts based financial products. Depository receipts based financial products at a leading global bank. Right? Did I just do all of this reading without sharing? Oh my God. Just all that reading without sharing, Rick. The world. Well, this is what I was reading right here. This is what I was reading right here. February 10th. This is a release from RDC. XRP DRs are securities issued by the Receipts Depository Corporation that represent direct ownership of the underlying XRP, which are held securely at Anchorage Digital National Association, a federally chartered digital asset bank. What did the OCC just come up with today with announcing that these banks are going to be able to hold certain products in the digital asset space and how the digital asset space is coming along and all that other kind of stuff? OCC just announced that today. Acting person over there, Rodney Hood. And here it is right here. XRP's DRs are RDC's latest expansion to provide a DTCC eligible security that offer ownership of digital and alternative assets. RDC's leadership team brings extensive experience in the depository receipts and institutional market structure, having spent decades working with issuers and investors to evolve DR-based financial products at a leading global bank. So I'm start Googling who these people are and why what's going on right now? Who's interested in this kind of stuff? All right, so here it is, RDC. It says receiptsdepot.com. Receiptsdepot.com is their website. Anyway, at least that part of it. So I went to the company. Like, I'm going down here and I'm trying to find, some investments or partners, that kind of stuff like that. So they just had some announcement as well from Coinbase on April the 2nd as well. Right? I'm just doing my due diligence, right? It says here, strong industry backing, Broadhaven Ventures, Franklin Templeton, and this F Prime, right? So who are these people? And it's from this RDC. It says this is a tried and true structured product, apparently. More than 6,500 global institution owned DRs today, depository receipts, with combined investments in these securities surpassing $1 trillion. All right, so let me see if I can go to company and find out the team here. Our mission, harnessing the power of these DRs. And this is the team here. What do I want to team? Our founding team and trusted advisors bring a wealth of experience in DRs, the capital markets, technology, and beyond. And we're combining it all for the benefit of institutional investors. Now, where's the city part that I read earlier? But these guys are from Citi. That's the big global bank that they mentioned. And I think Grok mentioned it as well. I don't know why I can't find it here now. But these dudes are from Citi. CITI. And they got some advisors here. Jason Loon, Satish. All right. All right. So that's the company. There's their mission. I have to find the Citi thing. Grok had it. Grok shared it as well. But these dudes are from Citi. Okay. Let's go back. I'm like, depository receipts for digital and alternative assets. So this is a popular DR structured product that institutions, hedge funds, et cetera, are used to working with and operating with. They're used to it, and they want these type of assets. Okay, depository receipts for digital and alternative. RDC, a first of its kind depository receipts platform. Since 1927, these DRs have been around, have evolved to enable foreign equities, debt, and commodities to transact, clear, and settle just like domestic securities. Today, we're using DRs to enable institutions to own digital and alternative assets just as easily. An ideal capital market tool for digital assets. Inclusion institutional products like funds, derivatives, index benchmarks. It says direct ownership and control of digital assets by investors. Right? You can go explore their offerings, et cetera, et cetera. Digital assets are just the beginning for them. So here it says here, startup founded by Citi alumni to launch XRP-backed securities. Citi alumni. All right. So let me welcome some more people to the stream. Then I'm going to get into my little back and forth with Grok about this whole thing. What's all this nonsense right now? What's going on? You know, what's going on? Oh, you want the link to the DTCC hour and a half thing? Rick Cisnero, is that what you're saying? Yeah, yeah, I can get that. If I can find that, I'll get that and put that in there. So, yeah, so I just wanted to make sure, do we understand what's kind of going on here? This is a link to the DTCC. They got a structured product that everyone in the institutional world is used to and familiar with, which is called DRs, and they are doing it for digital assets. They're doing it for digital assets. What's going on, Legendary? How are you, bro? Right? And should I show the offerings? Let me show the offerings so people know what they are. Bitcoin depository receipt, Solana depository receipt, Ethereum depository receipt, XRP depository receipt. So just so you know, Bitcoin and probably Ethereum were first, and then Solana, and then XRP. Just so you know. Just so you know. So there they are, right there. And my guess is the reason for the delay of XRP was because of the lawsuit. That would be my guess. But my point, one point to this is this major demand by institutions, hedge funds, big players for exposure to this asset class, in particular, these four assets. Absolutely important. Absolutely important to understand that. And the custodian in these is Anchorage Digital National Association Bank, and it's a digital bank. See right here? It says Digital Asset Custodian. Anchorage Digital National Association, okay? I think Mikkel would be interested in this video. The future of digital and alternative assets. Okay, that's awesome. So just let you know, those are the four offerings right now. All right? So if you will, allow me to kind of meander through my conversation. It wasn't extensive because I wanted to do the video for you guys. So it wasn't extensive, but it's very interesting. So anyway, Paul Atkins is set to speak on Friday at the SEC's roundtable on crypto trading, says Eleanor Terrett. His first public remarks on digital assets since becoming the chair. So they're going to set up a new roundtable to talk about some stuff. So that's awesome. All right, so let's get into my conversation if we can get to it, hopefully. Again, I do my typical thing. I say hello to Grok. Grok says, yo, what's good? Ready to dive in what you're pondering about today? Yeah. I said, yep. Are you familiar with a company called the Receipts Depository Corporation? Right? I just want to learn. Again, the more you ask and become inquisitive and add insights to this, it can give you better stuff. So it's going to go over the typical stuff that it's found on the web pages, on posts on X and wherever. Yeah, I'm familiar with the RDC. They're a company focused on making it easier for institutional investors to own digital and alternative assets right off the site, like Bitcoin and XRP, by using a depository receipt structure. This is one of the structured products that Mikkel was talking about. XRP Mikkel. This setup lets investors hold these assets in a way that's similar to traditional securities, integrating with existing financial systems like the DTC, the Depository Trust Company. Says it was founded by folks, which is a subsidiary of the DTCC, I believe. I think that's how it works. I think the Depository Trust Company is a subsidiary of the DTCC. I don't think it's the other way around. But anyway, that doesn't really matter. All right, it says here, financial systems like the Depository Trust Company, RDC, was founded by folks with deep experience in depository receipts from their time at Citi. And they're backed by institutions like Franklin Templeton, BTIG, and Broadhaven Ventures. They've launched products like Bitcoin's Depository, XRP, which are aimed at qualified institutional buyers and held securely with custodians like Anchorage Digital Bank. The goal is to bridge digital assets with conventional finance, emphasizing asset protection and transparency. Okay? Anything specific you want to know? I say, yes. Is there some legitimate relationship with or to the DTCC? Grok says, yes, there's a legitimate relationship between Receipts Depository Corp and the DTCC. RDC's depository receipts, such as Bitcoin and XRP, are designed to be DTCC settlement eligible. You know, the DCC is not messing around like $100,000. It's big numbers over there, right? They're not selling $100,000, right? It's big numbers. This means they are integrated into the DTCC, you know what I mean, DTCC system, specifically through its subsidiary. All right, so I had it right. The Depository Trust Company is a subsidiary of the DTCC. The Depository Trust Company, which facilitates the clearing and settlement of these securities. The DTC provides custody and book entry transfer services. I think these are the ones where your stocks and stuff are held, right? I think that's them, right? Allowing RDCs, DRs to be processed. So the corporation, company, RDCs, direct depository receipts to be processed like traditional securities within the existing financial infrastructure. The integration enables institutional investors to trade and settle these digital asset-based DRs efficiently within the DTCC's framework, which handles trillions in securities transactions annually. Okay, I asked Grok, well, what kind of type of institutional investors or companies would be interested in dealing with any offerings from this RDC, Receipts Depository Corporation? Right? Who's interested? Who's going to be working with them? I mean, why? What? Okay, who's interested in this stuff? What institutions, quote unquote? It says, Grok says, institutional investors and companies interested in the RDC's offerings, such as Bitcoin and XRP, typically include those seeking exposure to digital assets like crypto, while operating within the traditional financial frameworks. The type of institutions likely to be interested include hedge funds. These funds often pursue high return strategies and may seek to diversify portfolios with digital assets. RDC's depository receipts offer a familiar security structure, making it easier for hedge funds to invest in Bitcoin or XRP without directly managing a crypto wallet. Again, this is the most people that Mikkel was talking about, right? These institutions, right? It's not retail. It's not the vast majority of people, which the vast majority of people in this space is retail. It's not institutions, right? But anyway, so RDC's DRs offer a familiar security structure, making it easier for these hedge funds to invest in Bitcoin and XRP without directly managing a crypto wallet or navigating unregulated exchanges. Okay, so asset management firms like large asset managers such as mutual funds or pension funds looking to allocate a portion of portfolios to alternative assets may find the RDC's DTCC eligible DRs appealing, depository receipts appealing. The regulated, transparent structure aligns with their compliance and risk management requirements, Rick Cisneros. Private wealth managers, family offices, investment banks, endowments and foundations, and then there's the QIB, qualified institutional buyers. Qualified institutional buyers, or QIBs, RDC's depository receipts are specifically targeted at qualified institutional buyers, as defined under Rule 144A of the Securities Act. These include institutions with significant assets under management, typically over 100 million, such as insurance companies, large pension funds, or accredited investors who are eligible to trade private placement securities. These investors are drawn to RDC's offerings because they provide regulatory familiarity. It's important. The depository receipt structure, again, 1927, it's been around, mirrors traditional securities with the DTC settlement and custody by regulated entities like Anchorage Digital Bank. Asset protection. We'll see about this whole segregated thing, but it says segregated custody and bankruptcy remote structures reduce counterparty risk. Market access, exposure to these digital assets without the operational complexities of direct crypto ownership. Transparency and compliance. RDC's offerings align with institutional requirements for due diligence and risk management. For example, Franklin Templeton, which is one of RDC's backers, represents the type of asset manager that sees value in such products for its institutional client base. It says here, Grok asked me, would you like me to dig deeper into any specific investor type or use case? So I said, yes, I'm really curious about the XRP depository receipts and who might be interested. Also, and I didn't read this answer because I had to get on the live stream. I didn't read the answer. I said also I said, let me say this again. I said, yes, I'm really curious about the XRP depository receipts and who might be interested. Also, could this also be tied, it's bad English, to derivatives as well? So let's check out Grok's answer. The XRP depository receipts offered by RDC are a unique financial instrument designed to bridge digital assets with traditional finance. And they have garnered significant attention for their potential to attract institutional investors. Below, I'll dive into who might be interested in XRP depository receipts and why they would be drawn to them, and explore whether these receipts could be tied to derivatives, incorporating relevant details and addressing your curiosity. Well, thank you, Grok. Let's see what's good here. It says, who might be interested in these XRP depository receipts? These DRs, XRP DRs, are tailored for institutional investors, specifically the QIBs, qualified institutional buyers, and accredited investors. We went through that. Here's a detailed look at the type of institutions likely to be interested. We went through that. Hedge funds. Okay, got it. They want exposure without having to manage wallets or navigating on right. We got it. Use case. Funds, these hedge funds might use XRP DRs to speculate on XRP's price, especially given its volatility and potential for growth amid Ripple's expanding partnership with financial institutions like Swift and Santander. I didn't know there was a partnership with Swift. I know about Santander, though. Example, a crypto-focused hedge fund like Pantera Capital might see XRP DRs as a way to capitalize on XRP's role in cross-border payments. Give us some examples. Asset management firms, why would they be interested? Such as managing pension funds or mutual funds. XRP's DRs offer a regulated custodied way to gain exposure to XRP, aligning with their compliance use cases. Got it. Motivation. The direct ownership of XRP through DRs, unlike ETFs, which redeem in cash. Let me say that again. Motivation to own these DRs, XRP DR. The direct ownership of XRP through DRs, in parentheses, unlike ETFs, which remain in cash, appeals to managers seeking to capture the full upside of XRP's price movement. Okay, private wealth managers and family offices, high net worth individuals and family offices are increasingly exploring crypto as alternative assets. XRP DRs simplify access by allowing investment through family brokerage accounts, with custody handled by a regulated entity. Again, part of the most people, right? All right, use case. A family office might allocate a small percentage of its portfolio to the DRs. We got it. Motivation. The regulatory clarity from Ripple's partial SEC victory, partial, in 2024, and the secure custody framework reduce perceived risk. All right, so we got investment banks. Use case, banks might offer these XRP DRs to institutional clients who use them as underlying assets for structured products, enhancing their crypto. We got it, right? Got that. Motivation, growing institutional demand for crypto exposure, evidenced by 9,640% surge in XRP trading volume on Coinbase in February 2025. Signals a lucrative market opportunity. Yeah, so yeah, that's the futures thing, right? All right, then we got RIAs, the financial planners, people. All right, so the RIAs specializing in digital assets like digital wealth partners see the XRP DRs as an effective capital markets tool to bridge traditional and digital finance. Use cases, RIAs might recommend XRP DRs to clients seeking crypto exposure within a regulated framework, leveraging the product's in-kind convertibility, which is the ability to redeem these DRs for actual XRP where permitted. Motivation, the ability to integrate these XRP DRs with existing custodial and clearing systems simplifies portfolio management. So it talks about endowments as well. The endowments and foundations motivation to, get these structured products is the potential for XRP to stabilize and gain liquidity as institutional adoption grows could make it a compelling long-term hold. Key motivations across investors. Okay. Direct ownership. Unlike ETFs, XRP DRs represent actual XRP ownership. Allowing investors to benefit directly from price appreciation. Yeah, right. Secure custody with Anchorage Digital. Market infrastructure. The DTC eligibility enables seamless trading and settlement, making XRP DRs as accessible as stocks. Growing institutional interest, XRP's ecosystem is expanding with developments like XRP futures on Coinbase and potential ETFs signaling mainstream adoption. Mainstream adoption by institutions. Okay, all right, whatever. All right, so I asked the question, could these depository receipts be tied to derivatives? Grok says yes. XRP DRs could be tied to derivatives. All right, before I read that, let me welcome some more people into the stream before I read that. Rick Cisneros, I think the IMF trades in SDRs. Is that a different type of DR? I don't know what the SDR is. I don't know if that's depository receipts. I don't know. To be honest, Rick, I don't remember. I don't remember. All right, guys, do me a favor, hit that like button. That'd be really, really cool. We always like to have just as many likes in the video as we have people in the stream. That'd be really, really great. It helps the algorithm on YouTube to get this live stream and channel out to more people who don't understand that there is a new financial system being built right underneath their nose. They don't know. And we need more of us in this space. It's so vastly important. So please do me a favor and hit that like button. And please consider subscribing to the channel if you are enjoying the hangout. All right, let me get back to Grok here. Again, I asked Grok about these DRs being tied to derivatives, and Grok says yes. XRP depository receipts could be tied to derivatives either directly or indirectly due to their structure as tradable securities and the growing interest in XRP-based financial products. Here's how this connection might manifest. The XRP DRs as underlying assets for derivatives. Possibility. XRP DRs as DCC eligible securities could serve as the underlying asset for derivatives contracts like options, futures, or swaps. Investment banks or trading platforms could create structured products, e.g., XRP DR-based options, to allow investors to speculate on XRP's price without holding the DRs directly. An example, an investment bank might offer call option on XRP DRs, enabling a hedge fund to bet on XRP's price without purchasing the DRs outright. That's interesting. Some call options. All right. It says evidence. The recent launch of the CFTC regulated XRP futures by Coinbase Derivatives in April, that just happened a day or so ago, indicates growing infrastructure for XRP-based derivatives. While these futures are tied to XRP itself, the regulated nature of XRP DRs make them a plausible candidate for similar contracts. Rationale here. Derivatives based on XRP DRs would appeal to institutional investors who prefer leveraged or hedged exposure over direct ownership, especially given the DR's depository receipts integration with traditional market infrastructure. All right, so it says XRP depository receipts and structured products. Possibility. Financial institution could use XRP DRs to create structured notes or bonds tied to XRP's performance. For instance, an XRP linked structured note might pay periodic interest based on XRP's price movement with the DR as the referenced asset. Use case. A bank might issue an XRP DR backed note promising a return linked to XRP's price, offering capital protection to attract risk averse institutions. Oh my. Oh my. This is why we have a 90% bucket. This is why we got a 90% bucket. We say the 90% bucket, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and XRP, or a combination thereof, and or a combination thereof. This is why. Holy smoke, Olis. They're gonna derivativize all kind of stuff. And I'm going to tell you at the end of this conversation between Grok and I, even though I skipped all of this and just asked the question that I needed to know about all this stuff, is structured product stuff is great, but you know what we want to know. All right, so it says risk averse. I love this use case right here for structured product. A bank might issue an XRP DR backed note promising a return linked to XRP's price, offering capital protection to attract risk-averse institutions. It says motivation. Do me a favor, guys. Would you mind, if you don't mind, hopping on X and letting people know that we're discussing this conversation live on the Crypto Seeds YouTube channel? That'd be awesome if you guys could do that. It says motivation. Such products would cater to investors seeking crypto exposure with customized risk reward profiles. And Grok says this is a growing trend as institutions diversify into digital assets. Grok goes on to say there's some hedging and arbitrage opportunities. Boy, XRP DRs in-kind convertibility, where regulations allow, enable investors to redeem these depository receipts for actual XRP. Creating arbitrage opportunities between the DRs and XRP. What? An arbitrage opportunity between the depository receipt and the actual asset? On crypto exchanges. Derivatives like futures or options could be used to hedge these positions. Oh, my land. A hedge fund might buy XRP DRs and sell XRP futures to lock in a price differential. OMG. Profiting from market inefficiencies. Again, this evidence here, 9,600% surge in XRP trading volume. 9,600% trading volume on Coinbase in February, and 120 million in inflows to XRP derivatives market in 2023 suggests robust liquidity and interest in XRP-based derivatives, which could extend to the depository receipts. Wow. Current landscape, XRP derivatives such as futures and options are already gaining traction. For example, the CME Group offers XRP futures, and Coinbase's CFTC-approved XRP futures launched in April of 2025 reflect regulatory acceptance. XRP-DR's roles. While XRP futures are tied to the cryptocurrency's spot price, derivatives based on XRP-DRs will be tied to the DR's market price. You know, there was a dude out there trying to tell you that the prices that you're seeing on CoinGecko ain't the price. Let me read that again. While XRP futures are tied to the cryptocurrency's spot price, derivatives based on XRP DRs, depository receipts, would be tied to the depository receipts market price. Which may reflect slight premiums or discounts due to custody and settlement factors. This creates a parallel market for derivatives, appealing to institutions preferring securities-based exposure. Potential. As XRP DRs, depository receipts, gain liquidity, exchanges or banks might list DR-specific derivatives. Now, the bank is not going to say all that stuff. They're going to say you want exposure to XRP without having to go through all the hem and haws of getting a crypto wallet with C phrases. That's what the bank's going to be saying. That's what they're going to be selling. That's what they're going to be advertising. As XRP DRs gain liquidity, exchanges or banks might list the DR-specific depository receipt-specific derivatives, similar to how ADRs have inspired options contracts. Got some regulatory considerations. Advantage: the XRP DR depository receipts exemption from SEC registration and DTCC eligibility make them a compliant base for derivatives. Potentially bypassing some regulatory hurdles faced by direct crypto derivatives. Challenge: any derivatives tied to XRP DRs would need to comply with CFTC or SEC oversight, depending on the product type. The CFTC's approval of XRP futures suggests a favorable environment, but structured products might face additional scrutiny. Market sentiment and developments. Evidence of interest. Posts on X highlight excitement about the XRP derivatives. Awesome. Speculative potential. The launch of an XRP-linked ETF by, we just heard about that, the CEO was just on Bloomberg talking about it, in April, with 24 million in assets under management within 48 hours, underscores institutions' appetite for XRP-based products, which include DR-linked derivatives, depository receipt-linked derivatives. Critical perspective. While XRP DRs are positioned as a regulated institutional-friendly product, their exclusivity to accredited investors raises concerns about market inequality, potentially limiting broader participation. Additionally, the speculative nature of XRP's price and ongoing SEC appeals, that's over, could introduce risk for derivatives. That's done. Investors must weigh these factors. Summary: who's interested in the DRs, XRP DRs? Primary investors are hedge funds, asset managers, wealth managers, family offices, investment banks, RIAs, and endowments. Why? They seek regulated, custodied exposure to XRP's growth potential, leveraging the settlement with the DTCC, blah, blah, blah. This product's appeal is enhanced by Ripple's expanding role in payments and XRP increasing liquidity. All right. Tied to derivatives? Question mark. Yes, likely, says Grok. Yes, likely. The XRP DRs could serve as an underlying asset for options, futures, or structured products due to their security status and the DTC, again, eligibility. Awesome. I said, if you're curious about specific institutions rumored to be eyeing these XRP DRs or want me to explore potential derivative structures in more detail, let me know. I didn't do that. I said, well, I did, I guess. I said, yes. I said, yes, for sure. So I asked this question. So getting exposure without direct complexities like wallets, does someone in this whole pipeline have to actually hold the asset XRP? Great question. To address your curiosity about the depository receipts providing exposure without the wallet and whether someone in a pipeline must actually hold, let's break it down clearly and concisely. Focusing on the mechanics of the RDC structure and the custody chain. Awesome. How do these XRP DRs provide exposure without direct complexities? Okay, we don't need to know that. Does someone in the pipeline have to hold the actual XRP? So remember, these XRP DRs are redeemable in kind. In kind. Unlike most ETFs that are redeemable in cash. Yes, someone in the pipeline must hold the underlying XRP to back the XRP's DRs, ensuring that the DRs, depository receipts, are fully collateralized and represent real ownership of the digital asset. Storage demand, demand for the native asset. And TradFi is going to be making all kind of products around this thing, a derivative of a derivative of a derivative. But these depository receipts, redeemable in kind, someone has to have, it has to be fully collateralized. Here's who hold it. Anchorage Digital Bank. The RDC, the Receipts Depository Corporation, partners with Anchorage Digital Bank. And I believe this is something that Mikkel is kind of in tune with, working with, something along those lines. A federally regulated crypto custodian to hold actual XRP that backs the XRP DRs. Anchorage securely stores the XRP in cold storage or other secure wallets, managing the keys and the blockchain interactions. Cool. Mechanics. When RDC issues XRP DRs, it acquires the corresponding amount of XRP, either directly or through a partner, and transfers it to Anchorage for safekeeping. Sounds like demand for me, to me. Each depository receipt is backed by a specific quantity of XRP held in custody, ensuring a 1-to-1 peg or a defined ratio. So I don't know, maybe they work something out, I don't know, between the depository receipts and the underlying asset. Anchorage custody is structured to be bankruptcy remote. Are you suggesting that this bankruptcy remote now puts them outside of the purview of Chapter 11 bankruptcy and all the rules that apply? We're going to have to look into what exactly is bankruptcy remote. Anchorage's custody is structured to be bankruptcy remote, meaning the XRP is legally separated from RDC's or Anchorage's balance sheets. None of that commingling, according to this, that took place at Celsius and other places like Nexo and whatever. This protects investors in case of insolvency. What? This protects investors in case of insolvency, as the XRP remains their property. Holy smoke. That's big, fam. That is big. Well, God bless them. They won't have to go what us retail went through. God bless them. Yeah, that's massive. I think Mickle might be jumping up and down, screaming, "This is what I was talking about. This is what I was talking about, Crypto Siege. This is what I'm talking about." Anchorage custody is structured to be bankruptcy remote, meaning the XRP is legally separated from RDCs or Anchorage balance sheets. This protects investors in case of insolvency as the XRP remains their property. All right. RDC as the issuer role. RDC acts as the intermediary, issuing the XRP to investors, ensuring they are fully backed by XRP held at Anchorage. RDC does not directly hold the XRP, but oversees the creation and redemption process. When an investor buys an XRP RDC ensures the equivalent XRP is already custodied. Ensures that the XRP is already custodied at Anchorage. If an investor redeems depository receipt for XRP, where permitted, RDC coordinates with Anchorage to transfer the XRP to the investor's designated wallet. Whoa. Whoa. RDC provides the attestations or audits to confirm that the XRP's DRs are fully backed. We need someone to be checking the audits, though. Tell you that right now. Addressing concerns about unbacked paper XRP. Key points about the XRP holding: fully backed. The XRP DRs are not synthetic or unbacked derivatives. They are fully collateralized by actual XRP held in custody. This distinguishes them from crypto products, from other crypto products, like futures or certain ETFs that may not involve direct asset ownership. Wow. I got to say, wow. I never thought I would read that. I never thought I would read these things. So it looks as though Anchorage learned from the mistakes of Nexo and Celsius and others, and they set up a different ball game. RDC, Anchorage, they set up a different ball game. They made this whole thing bankruptcy remote. Oh, wow. I'm impressed. No investor burden. By outsourcing XRP custody to Anchorage, investors avoid the risk and complexities of self-custody, such as hacking, lost keys, or regulatory non-compliance. I think Mikkel is jumping up and down right now, screaming, saying, "I told you." I think I see this. I'm thinking. I think he may be doing that. I think he may be saying, "This is what I'm just talking about, Siege." Now, understand, this is accredited investor institutional stuff. High net worth QIBs, qualified investment buyers, I believe that's what they call it. Regulatory compliance. The use of regulated custodian like Anchorage ensures the XRP DRs meet institutional standards for asset protection and compliance, particularly for qualified institutional buyers under Rule 144A. All right, we got there. All right, cool. However, it's worth noting redemption limitations. I guess that's the thing. Redemption for actual XRP may be restricted in some jurisdictions or requires specific approval. So most investors treat XRP-DRs as a long-term securities holding rather than a direct access tool. Okay, this custody risk. While Anchorage is trusted custodian, any centralized custody introduces a degree of risk. Investors rely on Anchorage's security and RDC's oversight. So to me, this is like when crapola hits the fan, then we start getting the uniform commercials, Articles 8 and 9, and whether these XRP DRs or any DRs fall under collateral management. You got to understand that. If you don't understand that, read the book, The Great Taking. Could this tie it back to derivatives? Since you previously asked about derivatives, it's relevant to note that the custody XRP back in the DRs strengthen their suitability as an underlying asset for derivatives. It strengthens their ability. Options, futures, structured notes. Because the DRs are fully backed by real XRP held at Anchorage, derivatives based on XRP's DRs would have a clear link to the underlying asset's value, enhancing their credibility and appeal to institutions. Holy smoke. How many see what I'm saying? How many catching what I'm catching here? How many are catching what I'm catching here? How many are catching what I'm catching here? I bet you Mickles messaged me on X already. It said Rick Cisnero says, "Wow, this is why Robinhood is creating a new FX market on the XRPL. Now it is making sense. You are right. A whole new system of finance is being created. The Wall Street Bank must be panicking." Yeah. Legendary says, "Ultimate residual income stream." I am going to have to start buying XRP in this bear market. I got to increase my position in XRP because they're going to make all kind of products around this thing. And if you got these DRs strengthening the derivatives in the options market, because the DRs are held one-to-one and are fully redeemable in certain jurisdictions, whatever that means. Holy smokos. All right, so again, I skipped all of this, so we're reading this together for the first time. Grok says critical perspective. While the XRP depository receipt structure is a game changer for institutional adoption, it's not without trade-offs. The reliance on the centralized custodian like Anchorage introduces a single point of failure, albeit mitigated by its regulatory status. Additionally, the exclusivity to qualified institutional buyers and accredited investors limits broader market participation, potentially concentrating XRP exposure among elite institutions. Investors should also consider XRP's price volatility, okay, and Ripple's SEC thing is kind of over. Somebody's got to update Grok on that, which could impact the DR's attractiveness. Summary, exposure without complexities, who holds XRP, why it matters, all that stuff. This setup simplifies institutional investment, ensures asset protection, and supports potential derivative products, all while leveraging regulated infrastructure. Awesome. And then ask me a question. If you're curious about specific custody detail, how Anchor secures potential costs of XRP DRs, nope. You said, what's next on your mind? I said, oh, wow. Okay, cool. So This is, where we getting to, right? So demand for the asset or low velocity mechanisms could play out here. Low velocity, right? XRP right now is that high velocity thing, right? People are holding that thing for like a hot second, not a hot minute, a hot second. Dude, XRP, right? It's high velocity. It's not a creating storage demand, long-term holding, right? I said, so demand for the asset or low velocity mechanisms could play out here. Am I correct or on track? Grok says, you're absolutely on the right track. The structure of XRP depository receipts issued by Receipts Depository Corporation and the dynamics of institutional investment can indeed interact with demand for the XRP asset and low velocity mechanisms in ways that could influence XRP's market behavior. Let's unpack this to clarify how your intuition aligns with the mechanics of XRP's DRs, XRP's ecosystem, and broader market dynamics while keeping it concise and addressing your curiosity. Demand for the XRP. This refers to the overall market interest in holding or using XRP driven by factors like institutional investment. Ripple's payment network, RippleNet, speculative trading, or new financial products like DRs and ETFs and futures. Increased demand typically supports price appreciation, especially if supply is constrained. Hmm. Hmm. Low velocity mechanisms. In crypto, velocity measures how frequently a token changes hands, quote unquote, circulates. Low velocity means tokens are held longer, locked in custody, staked or held by long-term investors, reducing the circulating supply available for trading. This can amplify price increases when demand arises. When demand rises, as fewer tokens are available on the market. Your hypothesis suggests that XRP DRs could drive demand for XRP by attracting institutional investors and contribute to low velocity mechanisms by locking XRP in custody, potentially impacting XRP's price and the market dynamics. Let's explore how this plays out. XRP DRs are designed to bring institutional capital into the XRP ecosystem, which could significantly boost demand. Here's how. Mechanism. XRP DRs allow qualified institutional buyers and accredited vendors like hedge funds to gain exposure without the operational complexities. We get it. The lower barriers to entry for institutions that were previously hesitant due to regulatory or operational concerns. Impact on demand. By tapping into institutional capital pools, XRP DRs could increase buying pressure on XRP. For every XRP DR issued, depository receipt issued, RDC must acquire and custody the corresponding XRP held by Anchorage Digital Bank. Directly increasing demand for the underlying asset. Hmm. Hmm. Interesting. Mainstream financial integration mechanism, the DRs or DCC eligible, we got it. This makes XRP exposure as accessible as stocks or bonds. That's the big one right there. This makes XRP exposure as accessible as stocks or bonds, appealing to institutions with strict compliance requirements. Impact on demand. The ease of integration could attract more conservative investors, like pension funds and endowments, who avoided crypto due to infrastructure gaps. As more institutions allocate to XRP DRs, demand for the underlying XRP rises. Mm, there it is, right there. It says context. Ripple's expanding partnership with financial institutions like Santander and Standard Charter for cross-border payments further boost XRP's utility, complementing the demand by DRs. Hmm, hmm. It's interesting. Hmm. Wow. Impact on demand. Speculative buying of XRP DRs translates to XRP purchases by RDC to back the DRs, amplifying demand. The launch of XRP futures on Coinbase in April and chatter on X about potential ETF approvals suggests speculative interest. How XRP DRs could contribute to low velocity mechanisms. XRP DRs could indeed act as a low velocity mechanism by reducing the circulating supply of XRP. As the underlying XRP is locked in custody, and here how that works. We don't need to know how it works. We just need to know if that is a thing, and it is a thing. These DRs, as one particular structured product, can in fact create demand for the native asset XRP. And you and I own it. Yeah. Custody lockup. For every XRP DR issued, the equivalent amount of XRP is purchased and held by Anchorage Digital Bank in the secure custody. This XRP is effectively removed from circulation as it's not available for trading on exchanges or for use in RippleNet transactions while back in the DRs. Hmm. Impact on the velocity. The custody XRP lowers the token's velocity by reducing the supply available for active trading. If institutional demand for the XRP DRs grow, more XRP could be locked up, tightening the circulating supply. Hmm. Long-term holding by institutions. Institutional investors like asset managers or endowments typically have longer investment horizons than retail traders. Those buying XRP DRs may hold them as part of the diversified portfolio rather than actively trading them. Impact on velocity. Long-term holding of XRP DRs keep the underlying XRP in custody for extended periods, further reducing the velocity, right? We want it to go from high to low as possible. This contrasts with retail traders who might frequently buy and sell XRP on exchanges. Evidence. Franklin Templeton's backing of RDC suggests confidence in XRP DRs as a strategic long-term investment vehicle for institutions. Combined effect, demand plus low velocity. Your intuition is spot on. XRP DRs could create a powerful dynamic where increased demand from institutional adoption meets low velocity from custodied XRP and long-term holding, potentially driving XRP's price higher. And this says here's why. If institutions buy XRP DRs in large volumes, RDC must acquire the XRP to back them, increasing demand. Simultaneously, the custody XRP reduces the circulating supply simultaneously, making it harder for sellers to meet this demand, which could push prices up. Mm, 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 mm. Quantitative context as of April of 2025. Approximately 56 billion XRP out of 100 billion, 44 billion in Ripple's escrow. DR impact, depository receipt impact. If the XRP DRs lock up even 1 billion XRP, which is a plausible estimate if institutional adoption grows, that's 1.8% of the circulating supply removed. A significant reduction when paired with escrow and payment usage. This is interesting critical consideration. It says market liquidity. If too much XRP is locked in the DRs, exchange liquidity could then, THIN, thin, increase in volatility in both directions, up during demand spikes, down during sell-offs. Ripple's escrow release, monthly releases of the billion could offset some low velocity effects. Makes sense. Regulatory risk, ongoing. Okay, that's done. All right. Are you correct or on track? You're absolutely correct that XRP DRs could drive demand and act as low velocity mechanisms. The structure of DRs requiring custody XRP and targeting long-term institutional holders aligns perfectly with these dynamics. By pulling XRP off exchanges and into anchors' vaults, depository receipts reduce circulating supply, while institutional buying increases demand, creating a bullish setup for XRP's price under the right conditions. Comparison to Bitcoin's ETFs. Bitcoin's 2024-25 rally was partly fueled by ETFs locking up Bitcoin, reducing velocity. XRP's DRs could play a similar role, though XRP's smaller market cap means smaller lockups could have outsized impacts. As we discussed, the XRP DRs and derivatives underpin derivatives. Low velocity from DRs might increase volatility, making derivatives more attractive for hedging or speculation. RippleNet synergy. If Ripple Payments Network grows, more banks using XRP for remittances, it could further reduce the velocity by tying up XRP in transactional floats, amplifying the depository receipts effect. So there it is. I think I got my question answered. Legendary. I think we got our question answered about, again, we say on this channel all the time, guys can let Mikkel know, we say this all the time. Are you going to create demand for the native asset? XRP. And here is a TradFi product that can do that. TradFi. It's not DeFi. It's a TradFi product. Rick Cisnell says, here's where BlackRock will come in from all their institutional investors. The structured products will be offered to their clients. Yes, indeed. Indeed. Rick Cisnell says, CJ, I have an idea. Maybe one of those structured products can be used on Flare Networks, permissionless, decentralized, and immutable, that can provide yield. Just a thought. Yeah, without question. Flare Networks is in the institutional game as well. Flare Networks is in the institutional game as well. Legendary says, yeah, where are you on Ripple? Like, I think I said this before, Legendary. I think there's, and I did a poll on this. I think there are two different. The poll was when it comes to institutional DeFi, who are you most aligned with? Ripple, Flare, or I don't do DeFi? ABC. And I said that I am more aligned with Flare when it comes to institutional DeFi than Ripple's. I'm more aligned with Flare. I want more. I want true decentralization, security, and scalability. Uh, so that is interesting. Coinbase launching the XRP futures. This depository corporation. Look, just please don't think that that Receipts Depository Corporation is just some dudes who come together and had some idea. No, those folks were sent from Citi to create a thing. Citi is a world global bank. Michael Z, SDR is a special drawing right. So, right, it's not the same thing as the depository receipts. Thank you, Michael Z. Welcome to the stream, bro. Legendary said, I'd say Flared as well. They're not as focused on institutions. Yeah, that's because I think Flare builds with the retail in mind. I think Flare builds with true decentralization, true security, and true scalability in mind. And I think Ripple is more institutional focused, regardless of the intermediaries. But you could say, well, someone might argue, well, RDC is an intermediary, right, between the institutional investor and the DTC, right? But they ain't involved in the custody of anything. They are not involved in any custody. The custody is done by Anchorage, and Anchorage set it up to be bankruptcy remote, which is one of the challenges that we had with these companies that get this Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection, and they completely hose the retail investor. And, accredited or not. But Anchorage has set that up as a bankruptcy remote. New term, never heard of it. And I could swear that Mickle is in some XRP Mickle is in some way, shape, or form. I used to work with the guy as an air traffic controller. The guy's name was Mickle as well. But XRP Mickle, I felt like he said something that he was tied to Anchorage Digital in some way. I know in his life in that interview, underneath his name, it said Wealth Advisor. I do know that. So he probably has some more insights on what Anchorage Digital is doing. The bank, the digital bank. Anchorage something digital national something or another. What is it? Anchorage Digital Associate National Bank Digital Associate something. Right? So that is Grok lays some stuff out there, and that's some major food for thought for sure. Because I'm interested in creating demand for the native asset. That's what I'm interested in. I'm not interested in the DR, depository receipt. I'm not interested in the depository receipt. But how many have, after me having gone through that, feel like their XRP has become more valuable? How many feel like their XRP has become more valuable? I certainly have. And if Anchorage sticks to and keeps with that one-to-one backing and I don't know what's going to happen to that escrow stuff. I don't know with that escrow, those billions in escrow, how that's going to play out. I really don't know. I've always said this in the channel about Ripple and their stewardship of that escrow. It's been really good so far. So there it is, fam. I wanted to share that with you guys. My back and forth with Grok on this corporation called the Receipts Depository Corporation. That just sounds just so much like it's going to become another institution. Again, these folks came from Citi who are going to build. They're going to become some subsidiary of something, whether it be the DTCC or of the DTC, the Depository Trust Company. Is just linking to be a major player offering this particular structured product that is going to be significantly appealing and quite the demand. Yeah, that's the vibe I'm getting. That's the vibe I'm getting. And if the Anchorage Digital, the ones custodying that XRP can stay in that bankruptcy remote status, uh, that yeah, that's going to be a home run. Those DRs are going to be a grand slam, home run. Yep. All right, fam. I'm gonna hop off here. Thank you so much for hanging out. I appreciate you guys checking in. I think it's a little over an hour and a half. I had a little bit of a live stream announcement there. I didn't publish it right away. I thought I did, but appreciate you guys checking in. Oh, you want me to ask Rock about Hidden Road? Let me ask Rock about Hidden Road here real quick before I hop off. Let me ask real quick. Hold on. Did the prime broker Hidden Road also get also get a license as a broker dealer? Yep. So, yep, Grok says they did. Uh, um, Rick, yes, Hidden Road, a prime brokerage firm recently acquired by Ripple, did secure a broker dealer license from FINRA. The license was granted to the U.S. subsidiary Hidden Road Partners, CIV US LLC, as announced, April 17th of 2025. This approval allows Hidden Road to expand its fixed income prime brokerage platform, offering institutional clients regulatory compliance services such as clearing, financing, and trading of fixed income assets, in addition to its existing digital assets and foreign exchange services. So there it is. There it is. Why is this thing in the way here? Get out. There it is, Rick Cisneros. What's the difference between a prime broker or a primary dealer? I think it said it there, right? All right, let me share. Let me share what it said here. The terms prime broker and primary dealer refer to distinct roles in the financial industry, each with specific functions, clients, and regulatory frameworks. Since you're curious about Hidden Road's role as a primary broker and their recent broker dealer license, I'll clarify the differences between a prime broker and primary dealer concisely, ensuring relevance to your previous questions about institutional finance and XRP related products. Okay, like RDC's XRP Depository receipts. Definition: a prime broker is a financial institution that provides a bundle of services to large institutional clients, such as hedge funds, asset managers, and family offices to facilitate their trading and investment activities. Key functions: trade execution and clearing, securities lending and financing, custody settlement, portfolio reporting and risk management, access to markets. Regulation, examples, and context. Hidden Road's post-Ripple acquisition acts as a prime broker for offering services in fixed income and digital assets and FX. Its use of the XRP ledger for settlement could support institutional trading of XRP DRs, providing custody financing or clearing services to clients like hedge funds. Okay. Prime brokers like Hidden Road could facilitate trading and financing of XRP's DRs, the digital receipts, for institutional clients, enhancing demand for XRP and potentially reducing velocity by holding XRP in custody. Primary dealer definition: a primary dealer is a financial institution authorized by a central bank like the Federal Reserve to act as a counterparty in government securities markets, particularly for trading and underwriting treasury securities. Key functions: government securities trading, debt auctions, monetary policy support, market liquidity. Clients primarily the central bank, e.g. the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, but also institutional investors, banks, and broker-dealers trading government securities. Examples: in the United States, primary dealers are designed by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York and must meet strict capital and are designated by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York and must meet strict capital operation and reporting requirements. They are typically registered broker-dealers but face additional oversight due to their role in monetary policy and government debt markets. Examples: major banks like JP Morgan and Goldman's and Citi are primary dealers. As of April 2025, there are 24 primary dealers designated by the New York Fed. It says Hidden Road is not a primary dealer, as its focus is on prime broker services across fixed income digital assets and FX, not government securities underwriting. So there you go. It has a dealer's license, but it's not a primary dealer. That's the primary dealers are the likes of JP Morgan, Chase, Goldman Sachs, and Citi. So I hope that answered the question for you. Yeah, interesting. All right, fam. There it is. Thank you so much for hanging out. I appreciate you guys being here tonight. Yeah, so it says primary dealers are the big banks, right? So it says it's not a primary dealer. It just said it's dealer license by FINRA, right? But not primary, which I think is interesting. Let's see. Yeah, it's good stuff, man. Prime Brokers is a financial institution that provides a bundle of services. primary dealer is a financial institution authorized by a central bank. All right. A broker dealer license. So Hidden Road secured a broker dealer license from FINRA, a broker dealer, not primary dealer, a broker dealer. Yeah, broker dealer, not primary dealer. Yep. What's going on, Keyless? How are you? So, yeah, it does not say primary dealer. Yeah. So the license that they got is a broker dealer, not the primary dealer, which deals in government securities. All right, fam. Thank you so much for hanging out. I appreciate you guys being in here. Over 100 people checked in and to the stream. Do me a favor, hit that like button on the way out, guys. If you didn't get a chance to do so on the way in, that'd be really, really cool. This depository receipts thing with XRP is gonna it's bigger than what a lot of people are thinking, for sure. Yeah, it's bigger than what a lot of people were thinking, for sure. I'm glad I looked into it because it's just kind of, Angelica mentioned it, and I think it was kind of went over the radar for some folks. But it's going to be a big deal, especially if they're dealing with a subsidiary and it's DTCC settled and it's dealing with directly the subsidiary of the depository trust company. Big deal. Big deal. Real, real big deal. Guys, make sure you watch this whole live stream. I'm telling you, it's good stuff, especially my back and forth with Grok about this corporation called the Receipts Depository Corporation, and its product, one of its offerings is called the XRP Depository Receipts. So it's a big deal. Make sure you check that out. All right, fam, do me a favor, hit the like button on the way in, on the way out, if you didn't get a chance to do so on the way in. And if you happen to be in that 55% or so of people that are hanging out, listening to and watching the Crypto Siege, do me a favor. If you've been enjoying those hangouts, please consider subscribing to the channel. And don't forget to ring that notification bell so that you know whenever we go live or whenever we upload a video. I'm going to end this one like I do all my videos and remind you guys of this. Old money doesn't want you to win. But that's okay, though, because you and I, we're already winning. And I would ask you to consider this or perhaps ponder the idea or notion of living your life permissionless. Don't forget the old money merch is out. It'll be a link in the description for that as well. I'll talk to you guys soon. See ya.